I sold my assets in that project for an 11 plus $1,000 loss because I had the conviction in Cardano. That was at 2 cents. Like Cardano has a million times chance to come back from this graveyard in this bear market over this protocol. I sold at that much of a loss. I bought over 100,000 ADA
That's a
at
lot.
2 cents, two something cents. You know what happened after that?
Went to the moon.
Went to the moon. So I went from a $14,000 capital to losing 11 plus grand to having 2,900, buying Cardano at 2 cents, and that 2,900 turned to what was like 300 something grand.
Wow.
It's
Congratulations.
crazy, right?
Congratulations.
Yeah. So sometimes when you're in a project and things are not panning out the way they say, do not be afraid to do your research on a winner, cut your losses, and move your capital elsewhere where you can make the profits that you lost on the other project.
What is going on, Ada Nation? Welcome to the Dap Central YouTube channel. Today, I've got a very special guest here who's been doing an amazing job of not just growing within the Cardano community, but also keeping up with the latest projects building on Cardano. Now, this is going to be Alex Legolas, aka ShillMoBaggins. Alex, welcome to Dap Central. I want to thank you so much for your time, man. How are you doing on this wonderful Sunday?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Not a problem. It's been my pleasure. And I know we've been meaning to connect here for the past couple of weeks, but you've just been so busy, not only growing on Twitter, but really making a lot of friends and I think a couple of enemies too. So we're going to be chatting about what you've been doing and just what you've brought forward to the space here. I think you've really put a huge spotlight on the Cardano DeFi scene. And I want to break down exactly, how you're able to do that and some of the key things that you look at when you're talking about and researching some of this project. So I hope that, viewers are able to find this informational and that this gives them a little bit of a sneak peek or a behind the look scene as to what some of the top key players here within this network are doing when it comes to staying in the loop with the DeFi and Cardano network. So that said, let's go ahead and just jump straight on into it. Do you mind just maybe just breaking down, what kind of sparked your interest within the world of crypto and DeFi?
What sparked my interest was hindsight. Okay, you know how to say hindsight is 2020. That is what sparked my interest. I've been in the crypto space since 2017, right? I was looking to invest into stocks because I was like, man, I'm making money on my job, but I'm not using it for like I'm spending everything. So I was like, I want to be more financially savvy and actually build wealth. So I asked my friend to get me into stock trading because I used to trade stocks. Then he told me, why don't you buy Ripple, right? That's how that conversation started. I fell into the rabbit hole, and since 2017, I've been in crypto. Now, it's safe to say when you get into crypto, there's a lot of mistakes you make from not knowing a lot of things, right? I made all those mistakes, right? But the thing about myself and what I always tell people is, see, I learn from my mistakes. I try not to do them twice, right? As a result, hindsight is what has me into DeFi. I observed the Ethereum DeFi takeoff. I observed Binance Smart Chain and Solana, right? And the whole time this was happening, I was missing out on opportunity, mind you. I was not with the movement, right? I did not know what to do. I just watched it happen. I watched a lot of people make money. I watched a lot of people be successful, made life-changing wealth, right? While I was still shooting in the dark, not knowing a lot, right? Um, so after those cycles have passed, I think people were usually able to think clearer in the bear market. people that do not leave the space because they lost a little bit, some kind of money, right? If you leave the space, then you're probably never gonna be successful at this or anything for that matter because you quit, right? Um, if you're in the space and you learn from your mistakes, in the bear market, you could think clear. So in the bear market, I was thinking back to everything I observed, where Ethereum, I learned that DEXs do really good. I learned that lending protocols do really good, right? All these things I was paying attention to, and I started going to numbers. How well did they do? I checked on Ethereum, I checked on Binance Smart Chain, I checked on Solana. Everything was checking out. On different blockchains, my whole investment thesis was checking out from what I observed. As a result, I know Cardano. I've been in Cardano since 2017, ever since after the sale and after it got on exchanges. I've been in Cardano, and I followed Cardano meticulously. And I know our smart contracts are like the last to ship, right? Because we build meticulously, right? This was an advantage for me because everything I got to learn from Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, I get to apply that knowledge now. You understand? And this is how, even before anybody cared about whatever dApps were being built on Cardano, I was able to single out projects I thought were going to do great just from thinking back to the mistakes I made and the opportunities I missed on other chains and prior cycle, right? So yeah, I knew DeFi was where the money was at because I saw what happened in prior cycles, and that is why as soon as I started seeing projects building on Cardano and I saw the projects building in different niches, I knew what projects to pick. Now, you could say, oh, there was multiple lending protocols or there was multiple DEXs. How did you know which one of them was going to do good, right? Again, my prior mistakes that I made and everything I learned pointed to the fact that you also have to see the capability of the development team. You have to watch out for those teams that keep building, even if there's an atomic bomb blast, they keep building. You got to pay attention to those people, okay? You got to pay attention to how they structure the tokenomics of their project. That's very vital, especially for DeFi. For DeFi, tokenomics is very vital. A lot of people don't get it, but it's a fact, right? So paying attention to stuff like the abilities of the team, how well they deliver, how much they build, the tokenomics of the project, in conjunction with what niches usually do great on every blockchain, was what made me know where to look in the Cardano blockchain when our smart contracts came alive.
Awesome to hear. I've got two responses
Mhm.
to some points that you made, and I couldn't agree with you more. Number one is that Cardano is a late bloomer.
Yep.
We've already seen what's happening on Cardano now take place on other more developed networks, right? And this is how I like to kind of explain the Cardano network to people that are jumping into it now and trying to get an understanding of where we are. Imagine, a city, for example, like Washington, D.C., with such big buildings, such big monuments. That's what Ethereum has. They've been up and thriving for quite a bit of time. They've already got DeFi. They've got a lot of DEXs. All these different pieces of infrastructure are live on Ethereum. And you compare that to Cardano, you've got like this barren land where we're just starting to get the first, residential homes
Mhm.
popping up within the city. So I think the opportunity, if you're able to look at some of these other networks and compare that to Cardano, will be so clear. And again, I couldn't agree with you more. The second point that I want to also highlight that you mentioned that I completely agree with is the fact that when you do come into the space, if you are down, which I think the majority of people that do come into the space, end up being down because it's your first time investing in something so volatile, you cannot step away. I definitely made that same mistake when I first came into the space. I stepped away, and that was around the 2017, 2018 era. And it wasn't until about 2020, 2021 that I
Mhm.
realized that was a huge mistake. And so since then, I've made sure that I'm not going to make that same mistake. And again, I agree with what you said there is you have to learn from your past mistakes. So really interesting points that you made. And I'm 100% with you on all those points that you've made there in that introduction. Now, for the viewers that are not following you on Twitter, I've got to plug you on Twitter, man. I'm on Twitter very constantly. That's where I get a lot of my personal news. And you popped up on my Twitter timeline about a month or so ago. And I'm not sure what really resonated with the community. Well, actually, I think I know. We're going to touch on those projects in just a second, but
Mhm.
you've been very vocal. And I think that's kind of like your main platform. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been doing amazing on Twitter alone. When I followed you, you were at about 5,000 or so Twitter followers. And for anybody who's not, familiar with Twitter, it does take a little bit of time to grow. You've got to be very active. You've got to provide a lot of value, just like it is here on YouTube. So I've seen you grow just over the last like month to month and a half, over 3,500 followers, which is huge within its own rights. But your voice has been getting bigger and bigger. So I want to maybe just ask you, you've already highlighted some projects that we're going to talk about here in just a minute, which include Milk, LenFi, ViFi, and OPT. But, let's talk about some trends. You've been able to identify some trends with Milk and some of these other tokens. Like, what do you think is going to be the next trend when it comes to Cardano, DeFi, and innovations coming on the network?
It's a great question because I already identified LenFi, it was a no-brainer for me because, like I said, I started on Ethereum and on every other chain. Lending protocols are great. DEXs, Muesli Swap, same thing. But now I'm starting to see new things. I have not much experience with derivative protocols and other platforms. I don't have it. You know how I told you I paid attention to like lending and stuff? I didn't even know they had that on Ethereum. I did not know. But the first time I got introduced to this options flow is right on Cardano. And remember I told you, number one factor that I look at when I pick a project is what the capability of the team building the project is, because a lot of projects are very ambitious, but they cannot quite deliver their ambition just because technically it's not that easy. It's really not. They might have all the funding in the world and still not get it done because maybe they didn't hire the right people. So if you find a stellar team that could deliver, it is golden. It is golden, right? So they introduced us to Options Flow, the Muesli Swap team. Now, I have history with the Muesli Swap team. I disclosed a week ago that I worked for the Muesli Swap team for Twitter community building on Twitter, right? But that position is only 4 weeks old. This past Friday makes it a total of 4 weeks I've worked with them. Now, anybody that knows my profile knows I've been shouting on top of my lungs about Muesli Swap for months on end. Months. I'm talking when Milk was under 1.5 ADA. Nobody cared about Milk. It was up 49 cents, 50 cents. Nobody cared about Milk, right? So because I know how, and I know everything the team did upgrading and adding to the protocol throughout the bear market, because I know what they're capable of, them introducing options flow made a lot of sense to me. First of all, I know the team can deliver. That's not a question, right? They're tested and trusted. I've seen it. They've never dropped the ball. The Muesli Swap team, to me, has never dropped the ball. Now, the reason why options flow is very interesting to me is this. Options flow is one of two projects I'm going to speak about. The next one is linkage finance, by the way. But options flow, the reason why it's so interesting to me is derivative trading, even in traditional finance, is big, is huge. All right. And I'm an investor that has a long-term mindset. No matter how little things look now, right? I tend to look at what the future can hold. And this is the problem most investors have. They cannot see past the length of their nose. They can't. It's too far for them to see. Okay? I don't only think ahead in my investing. This is just the person I am. I get this all the time from people. I always plan ahead, right? I do that in investing too. So, like I was saying, in traditional finance, derivative market is huge. This is how huge it is. Okay, the market capitalization of the U.S. stock market is over $46 billion, I believe. It's huge. It's very big, right? Now, as big as it is, I heard that the derivative market is like 1 quadrillion, some crazy number in the I don't even know how many zeros a quadrillion is supposed to have, right? Although some analysts said that the number is severely overblown and is more like in the trillions as opposed to a quadrillion, right? Whatever the number is a much, much, much bigger number than the equities, right? Me knowing these just tells me that as cryptocurrency gets bigger and bigger and Cardano gets bigger and bigger, so like a billion users, like Charles Hoskin always states, it might take a decade for that to happen. It might even take 2 decades for that to happen, right? But most of us in crypto know that crypto is the future. Blockchain decentralization is the future. We know this, right? Me knowing this and the Mislu Swap team introducing a project like Options Flow just tells me that being that in TradFi derivatives get so big, this is the possibility. This is what is in the cards for a project like Option Flow, where a development team like the Muesli Swap team that has been proven times without number and delivering on their promise. So I pay attention to that stuff, like I said. And this is the same reason why I'm able to call whatever I'm able to call in the past. I just pay attention to detail and have a long-term mindset. Now, the second project I want to talk about, this is also innovative for me, linkage finance, indexes on the blockchain, decentralized index on the blockchain, right? Again, I was not aware of any protocols where you could trade crypto indexes on Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain. This is not one of the things I tracked, to call lending and dexes on Cardano. This was new innovation for me, right? But what do I know about indexes? The only thing I know about indexes is from traditional finance. Indexes are highly successful, right? Now, you see how you have to do your research in crypto to make sure you don't fall in the wrong hole. Also applies in the stock market. If you're going to invest, you have to research on the stocks that you pick, right? You have to know how much the company is making, all that stuff. You need to do your research. In the stock market, a lot of people that don't have time to do all that heavy research, you know what they do? They just buy indexes because the work has been done for them, right? Indexes are highly successful. As a matter of fact, if you start 2 portfolios in the stock market and just put indexes of the S&P 500 in one portfolio, and you do your research and pick stocks in the other portfolio, the probability of your S&P 500 index funds beating your portfolio is very high. Okay, it's very high. I think they say eight out of 10 times or 9 out of 10 times the index is going to win, right? Warren Buffett had a bet. Warren Buffett had a bet with some hedge fund guys about this same situation. And over the amount of time that they agreed upon, they did not outdo the index. They did not outdo the ETFs. Okay. Now, the innovation on the blockchain is that linkage finance is going to bring this to Cardano. Now, a lot of investors that cannot see past the length of their nose, again, they might be able to see only problems. Oh, yeah, it's going to be indexes, but Cardano currently has maybe 200 projects live or 180 projects live, whatever the number is. And as a result of that, we need more projects in order to have indexes. Yes, you could say where we're at now. And if that's a problem for you because you don't have a long-term mindset, then you will miss the opportunity. Because you know what happened? By the time Cardano has 20,000 projects and this index protocol, linkage finance, is able to have so much indexes and stuff, by the time that happens to satisfy the numbers you're looking for, the protocol is highly successful. Now, people like me that paid attention to it now and took the opportunity in its infancy get to sell people like those my assets for a massive premium. Okay, So you have to have that long-term thinking. So for me, the project right now that I'm paying attention to on the trend is this traditional finance mimicking protocols like options flow and linkage finance. Again, again, what I do know about the linkage finance protocol is that some developers from the Muesli Swap team are helping them build. For me, that is just confident. I'm confident with these people. Okay, I know what they're capable of. Okay, I'll rather tested and trusted developers than some developers that might deliver and might not deliver. I don't know what they're capable of. I'd rather go with what I know works as opposed to experiments. So yeah, those are the projects I'm looking at right now and the trends.
Okay. And I'm taking notes here as I'm going again, just to
Mhm.
provide my thoughtful responses.
Sure.
So what I've got there was that when you're looking for, what's going to be coming down the pipes, you're looking for innovators, number one, but
Yes.
then teams with a valid track record of actually delivering, number two.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to the actual trends themselves, what I caught there was derivatives and index funds,
Yes.
OPT for the derivatives and
Yes.
linkage finance there for the index funds.
Correct.
I want to say thank you for that.
You're
And
welcome.
I want to also just bring this up here, right? Because you were touching a little bit about Muesli.
Yeah.
And I was able to pull up some tweets that you have from quite a bit ago. This is from back when the milk token was right at a breakout of somewhere between 2.5 ADA per milk token.
Yes.
Obviously, it's come a long way since then. I think from that particular price point, it made a 20x, right? Because it hit an all-time high of like 21 or
21,
22
21.
ADA. Yeah,
21.21 all-time high. Yep.
So this is just for the viewers again. Alex didn't just wake up and just start, talking about milk. He's been really keeping up with this stuff all the way back. This is a post from the 27th there. You can see at the very bottom of March. So again, I want to congratulate you. I think a lot of people have learned to be a little bit more cautious now as to what you say because of this track record. And that's one of the key things here about Twitter. A lot of information is still available for anybody who wants to go back over there and check it out, right? I think that's one of the key things that we're able to do with these platforms is go back in time and look at people's track records. And your track record to me is very clear. You've been a huge proponent of the milk team or the Muesli Swap team. And I also just want to touch on the fact that when you mentioned OPT, you're right, it is going to be new, but they just had their public token sale and we saw that sell out in no more than 30 minutes. Now, the public sale allocation was, I believe, 30 million of the tokens. So the team raised about $2 to $3 million worth of funds in 30 minutes. Since then, we've seen a 1-for-1 redemption for milk token holders, and the price has only gone up. A lot of people, I think, were under the assumption that the price was going to dump because some of these milk token holders were going to be selling their OPT tokens from that one-to-one claim, but it's been the exact opposite, right? So to me, it's just crazy how what you expect to play in the market isn't the same. I think that really shows the power and the strength here of the milk community. So thank you for that insight there. And thank you for touching on some of the trends that you're kind of keeping an eye on. I will definitely be doing the same. I do want to add that, with linkage finance as well, they've announced that they're going to be having their public token sale. This was just made earlier today on August 3rd. So I'll leave the links to both of those platforms down below. OPT, which has already had their public token sale, and then Linkage Finance, which will be having a public token sale here in the near future. Let's move along to the next topic here. You kind of touched on this a little bit earlier,
Mhm.
which was doing your own research. So you've already kind of talked about, how you've come into Milk, LenFi, ViFi, OPT, these things that you kind of tweet about. But let me ask you, how do you stay informed and how do you stay ahead of the crowd when it comes to your research and doing your due diligence?
Um, I okay. The way I stay ahead of the crowd and stay informed is this is similar to what I said in the beginning. So, first of all, I use the past, right? My past mistakes, right? Past opportunities missed, opportunities I failed to capitalize on. and recognize, right? When I see those opportunities and I see those mistakes playing out again, I recognize them, right? If it's something that was a mistake of mine in the past, I don't make it again, right? And if it's an opportunity that I did not capitalize on in the past, I definitely jump on top of it, right? Um, the number one thing also in the present that I use to stay informed is what the team is doing. I I I stay on top of the team like their shadow almost. I'm in the communities. I'm in the Telegram. I'm in the Discord. I interact with the team. I ask questions. Okay, what's coming up? What are you working on? And it's really hard to sell me a bill of goods when I'm asking you all those questions. Because as soon as you start answering my questions in a manner that tells me you're selling me a bill of goods I don't care for, I know what time it is. You understand? I know what time it is, and I'm not a participant to that part. I'm out. Okay. This helped. I'll give you an example. Remember Ardana? Ardana seemed pretty good. You should see Ardana's website was legit. The team, they had like 30 people on the team. It's like there's no way you look at Ardana on paper and you won't think that okay, this project is gonna take off. So I was in Ardana too. I had invested a total of about I think maybe $7,500 at a time in Ardana, and following them, following whatever Twitter spaces that they have in. The moment we had a Twitter space or the call, the community call with the CEO, and he mentioned the protocol which he had told us was supposed to launch quarter 1 of 2023 might launch quarter 4, might, not definitely. As soon as he mentioned that, I sold. I sold out of 20. I had like $7,500 in the market, right? I sold at a $2,500 loss. Okay, because you know what? I learned how to cut my losses and then go make those losses elsewhere. I learned it with Cardano. Okay, I'll tell you how. This is crazy. I don't know. I might be going off course with your question, but I think this is vital knowledge for anybody in the community to have, right? Remember, I told you I got into Cardano 2017, right?
Hmm.
I got into 2017. I bought ADA. I believe I bought ADA at like 5 10 cents, something like that. And when he made the run to $1.34, the first all-time high, and started to come back down around 90 cents, I sold my ADA to buy some new shiny object protocol I saw, right? I did not know much. I sold all my ADA, I bought that project. I spent a total of, I think I spent about $14,000 in that project. Farid, this was going into 2018. That project tanked. Obviously, it was the bear market too. So it just kept going down. I told you I spent $14,000, right?
Hmm.
It was a $2,900 value towards the end of 2018 into 2019, right? And then Cardano was also crashing too. Cardano was going close to about 2 cents, something like that. Then I started paying attention to Cardano, listening to Charles Hoskinson videos and everything. You know what I did? I sold my assets in that project for an 11 plus $1,000 loss because I had the conviction in Cardano. That was at 2 cents. Like Cardano has a million times chance to come back from this graveyard in this bear market over this protocol. I sold at that much of a loss. I bought over 100,000 ADA
That's a
at
lot.
2 cents, two something cents. You know what happened after that?
Went to the moon.
Went to the moon. So I went from a $14,000 capital to losing 11 plus grand to having 2,900, buying Cardano at 2 cents, and that 2,900 turned to what was like 300 something grand. It's,
Wow.
it's
Congratulations.
crazy, right?
Congratulations.
Yeah. So you sometimes when you're in a project and things are not panning out the way they say, do not be afraid to do your research on a winner, cut your losses, and move your capital elsewhere where you can make the profits that you lost on the other project. Okay. And then some. So that's what I did with Adana too.
Mhm.
Adana, he was not delivering $2,500 loss, no problem. I'm gonna eat it. I sold Adana out of $2,500 loss. Guess where I put the $5,000 I got from it?
Where?
AADA, now LenFi.
Come on, man. Yeah, you're definitely up on that one too.
I put the $5,000 in LenFi around the time I think LenFi was 20 something cents, I believe. Right? And you see what happened with LenFi. I already had some LenFi, but then Adana was not. So I was like, okay, let me move all the capital into it. I have way more conviction in LenFi, right? So I look at the team. The team is so vital. The team that's capable of delivering is so vital in every project. Forget the hype. Forget the hype. But what happens? New investors in crypto, it's very easy to follow the hype. It's easier. It feels good. It feels really good. You think you're doing the correct thing because hype is more addictive than hard work. Like paying attention on a team's hard work and find out the details that goes into that is harder information to get a hold of than hype. Hype is easy. You don't need to do too much to see a hype project being hyped. You know what I'm saying? But for you to do the digging that requires to be done to find out what the team is capable of is tougher. So the way I'm able to stay ahead is always follow what the team is doing. Always follow the team. That's what I do. And what the team has done in the past too.
That's key.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And again, I'm going to recap here for the viewers.
Mhm.
What I got from that was just to stay on top of the team, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's through Telegram, Discord, Twitter Spaces, AMAs, YouTube videos, just stay in sync and in tune. And you're completely right. I mentioned this in some of my prior videos. This is such a young space. You know, 19 out of 20 of some of the top projects are going to be bound to fail. It's unfortunate, but these are all startups. These are people with ideas, people with, thoughts in their heads that they're trying to play out. And being the first movers, within the blockchain space, generally speaking, I think again is a huge risk. And so not only do we have that, blockchain technology is brand new, and then Cardano has an additional layer of complexity with the extended UTXO model, right? That a lot of people are scared of developing on. So it's key to stay on top of these projects because of all these different adversities that they're all facing. And I couldn't agree with you more. And that's, I think, where, I kind of got my own personal drive to even join and contribute to the space by doing these YouTube videos is to not only inform the viewers, but to also keep me and myself sharp, right? Because I'm having to go out and do the research. In order for me to speak on something, I need to go ahead and actually do some research and figure that out, right? Now, to
Yes.
an extent, I do think that it is always good to listen to other people, but you should always make up your own mind, which I know everybody says it, do your own research, and it's really key. And so some of the platforms that I personally like to use as well, in addition to what you've mentioned, are going to be things like Medium articles. I'm more of a technical person. And so I like to just, kind of be by the books. White papers can be a little bit of a box sometimes. I understand that, they can be super technical, but I do always urge people, read people's white paper. If you get a weird vibe from a white paper, they, kind of trust your gut. But I agree with your general consensus that you have to stay on top of whatever project. You can't listen to somebody else and then just kind of, invest and then walk away for a month and then come back and expect to see your portfolio up 100%, 200%, whatever the case is. You have to stay on top of these investments because the landscape is always just moving and the landscape is always ever changing. So I do agree with that. And then you mentioned one other thing too, which was to cut your loss quickly. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. I know for myself as well, even when I was in traditional finance, right? Investing in just traditional stocks, that was something that was difficult because you see an unrealized loss and you're like, okay, well, it's not really official yet. There's a chance. And you ride that little slim piece of hope until there's literally nothing left. And it can really be hard to break away, especially once you've kind of got an emotional relationship with the project that you've been keeping up with, or that you hope that that particular idea pans out, to really cut away from that and to distance yourself from that. So I want to say thank you for that. And
Welcome.
I want to jump into some other questions here, but you actually kind of touched on them as well. So I had another question surrounding what advice you'd want to give to somebody who's brand new to the space, and I'll let you answer that. But I kind of felt like you touched on a little bit on that. Again, doing your own research, staying on top of
Mhm.
these projects, and cutting away from your losses. You know,
Yeah.
let's maybe just focus a little bit on the recent sentiment in this has been, I think, on Twitter more or less towards you and anybody else who's just been vocal
Mhm.
surrounding supporting of projects. So you mentioned that you are now supporting the Music Swap team, and you willingly came forward and told the community that, right? So I want for people to understand that, number one. But there seems to be a crowd, and it's almost kind of like a polarized scene that I've noticed personally, right? People either love people like yourself who are giving them the alpha, quote unquote, and bringing things to their attention. For example, like OPT, their tokenomics, linkage finance now, MusiSwap, BiFi, etc. But then you've got some other people that I'm not going to name names here, but I see interactions on Twitter. I'm sure you do too, and they're not really too supportive. Do you mind maybe touching on how you're able to, number one, not let that affect you? But then number two, how can we get everybody to still support the ecosystem? Because we don't want any of this infighting. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, you're not going to get everybody to support the ecosystem. It's impossible. See, the only way to do it literally is to make sure everybody in the ecosystem are robots or AI that are coded to do a certain thing. Okay? As long as they're human beings, it's never going to happen. Okay? Now, you spoke of those people that might have not been so friendly and, right? Those people, guess what? I, I've been expecting those people. I've been waiting for them. I'm surprised it took them this long to show up. You cannot get away from it. I learned from a long time ago in life. If you start to get some kind of success or some kind of public role, something that affects a crowd of people, if that happens with you, you're gonna make a bunch of friends. You're gonna make a bunch of enemies. There's no two ways about it. You can't get away from it. But what I know to do in this regards is I really pay attention to those people that whatever it is I do on Twitter and in the Cardano community help. And I could tell you with 100% certainty that those people are the massive majority of people I interact with. I have messages in my inbox, ton of messages with people thanking me and telling me how I was able to help them, whatever information I shared. I have so many people want to take me out for dinners and drinks. Like I would be an alcoholic if I went to drinks with all these people, right? So the number one key thing is this: make no mistake, I will not sugarcoat this. The reason why I'm in crypto, the reason why I'm in crypto is for financial success. I am not. I'm not one of those people that will tell you, "Oh, I'm here for the tech." See, the tech is great. Don't get me wrong. I use some of these financial instruments. I love the tech. Okay, I love decentralization. I love decentralization because my personality, I hate to conform to authoritarianism. I don't like to be made. So because of that, I love decentralization. I love the whole idea of your own money, solid. I love all that. Now, before cryptocurrency, I have sought after financial success any way, shape, or form. I've been looking for it. I found cryptocurrency. It agrees with my spirit. I understand it. I get it. So, a huge part of the reason why I'm here is freedom. Okay, freedom and choices, and for me and for my family. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me that the reason why I'm here aligns with the reason they're here. Now, unfortunately, some people are supposed to be here for that too, for the tech and for the success. But their personalities do not let them focus. So they tend to focus on the drama, right? They go on Twitter and they want to bash this person and that person. Some people, they just, you see, there are two kinds of people. There are good people and there are bad people, okay? Some people cannot stand the sight of somebody else's success. They can't. It irks their nerve. They cannot. And as soon as they see that, they start to try to tear them down. This has happened since the beginning of mankind. Okay. It did not start with crypto. So that's why I tell you I've been expecting those people, right? But I don't feel into it too much. Most of the time, if you see somebody addressing me in a foul way in my threads, most of the time I ignore them. I don't give them a platform. Most of the time you see these people, they have like maybe 2 likes. Now, if I go respond to them, I'm helping them. I go respond to them. Now they got 100 likes and 300 views.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So when I see those people, it's usually with the people with like 2 followers and 20 followers. And no, not even a PFP is like a blank. It's usually those people. So you can't give them any energy, right? I always say I'm not here for the drama. Some people come to crypto Twitter, and these people they come for the drama as though their bills accept drama for payment. If that's what you want, if you could pay your bills with drama, okay, go ahead. See, my mortgage is not taking no drama. It's taking dollars. So I come here to make the dollars and educate a bunch of people. You can come here to make drama. If you can pay your bills with that, go ahead. So yeah, I can't give those people any energy. But the people that think I'm doing a good job and they want to learn more, aside from making financial success for myself, I'm also a believer of educating other people and bringing other people up. In my real life, I have a bunch of people that I help with crypto. I don't charge them anything to help them. I do everything with them, like let them know. I set up wallets, show them how to complete a transaction. A bunch of people that I help in my real life, I don't charge them anything. I just help them because I would love to see them successful as well, you know. And that's why I'm here. I'm all about empowering people, right, to do better, empowering myself to do better,
Hmm.
and also the tech, because this tech helps me a lot with this whole decentralized, my money is my money, I could do my finances. I took a loan out on LenFi yesterday and stuff. I Taking a loan out from the bank is cumbersome, it's crazy, it's ridiculous, right? The tech works. The
It
tech
does.
works. So I'm here for empowerment, I'm here for the tech, I'm here for financial success for myself and all the people I care about. Every other person that's looking for drama, go to another person's page because I don't have much to give. I really don't. And
That,
this is my
mm,
advice to people new to crypto, right? My advice to them is come in here, do your diligence, um, do your research, focus on who the team is and the capability of the team and their likelihood to deliver. Do not buy into the drama. It's not gonna pay your bills for you. Come here to find the opportunity and grab onto it. That's my advice to them.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Again, some key points that I have to definitely agree with you. Being a content creator,
Mhm.
I think the majority of responses that I put out do gather a positive response, but there just always seems to be, these interesting one-offs where you're just kind of wondering where somebody's energy is coming from, especially when you're contributing from a place of good faith personally, because you obviously know your own intent. But
Yeah.
if somebody misconstrues that or somebody comes at you a certain way, you're like, well, it seems a little odd because, again, you are doing things not with the intent of being distasteful or being dishonest. But if somebody's calling you, hey, you're doing this or you're doing that, it just seems a little odd. So I could definitely say that I've been in that similar situation with my YouTube channel. The majority of it, I would say 99% has been super positive, but you do always get those people that are just not really adding to what you're trying to do. And it almost kind of feels like you said that they're taking away. I think in your case, though, it can be a little bit different because of the fact that there's FOMO involved. With my content, there's not really a lot of FOMO, right? So either you like it, you don't. I'm just providing with facts, take it or leave it, news-based content. With what you're doing, I think there can be a lot of FOMO that gets incited. And if somebody misses out on that FOMO, that can then cause for their response to then be a little bit more negative or biased because of the fact that they're now watching from the sidelines, right? I personally didn't catch the milk train. I know a lot of people that didn't catch the milk train. After the milk train, though, I think a lot of people's ears were a lot more receptive to what was being said, especially by you, because of the fact that there was a track record there, right? So I don't think that this is the end of the opportunities. If anything, it's the beginning. We haven't even seen the Bitcoin halving, but I think we need to come together. And you're right. Maybe I'm a little bit too naive in thinking that we're going to get everybody who's going to be supportive in this ecosystem. Maybe it's just not going to be the case. Nobody ever likes the president. We can't ever, at least in the United States, I can't say that there's ever been 100% positive,
Approval
attitude towards the president.
of the
It's always
president.
50-50. Exactly. So
Never.
I think you're right in that sense. Now we are getting a little bit longer here on the interview. I want to respect your time, and I would love to actually have you on the channel here again, right? Especially as OPT rolls out and as Linkage Finance rolls out. But the last thing I want to pose to you is there anything that you want to share with the community here that's listening to you? Again, your voice has been growing very quickly here in this space as to what they could be looking into, what they can do to improve, and just what maybe that we didn't touch on that you want them to know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing I've said over and over again. And that's the same blueprint that I follow, right? I will encourage everybody to, first of all, just try to get away from this negative energy on social media. You're missing the whole point doing that. You're missing the whole point. Like, you're missing out on opportunity because you're so worried about the shenanigans happening with the drama. Forget the drama. That's not why you're here. I don't think anybody's here for drama, really, but they just get caught up in it and they miss the whole point, right? Get away from that. Focus on education. Like, the success you're going to make in the cryptocurrency world is 100% proportional to how much knowledge you acquire. So the quicker you educate yourself on how the market cycle works, what niches do the best, what teams are the most formidable, the quicker you educate yourself on all these things, the better you're able to follow the trend or spot the opportunity. So my advice would be, number one, education. Go learn, do whatever research you have to do. And the way I did it is I started with YouTube videos on my foundation. Okay. Now, how did I learn the niches that did great in the Ethereum space? It's because of all the YouTube videos I watched about it, right? I watched all the YouTube videos, and even with you guys, Cardano, I watch your video, Dap Central. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Cardano with Paul, right? Dan Gambadello. I watch a lot of YouTube videos to educate myself on the researches that you guys do. That's my starting point. And then I go digging to find more stuff. So I'll advise anybody to just focus on education, because your success is going to be directly proportional to how much knowledge you acquire about the space and the trends in this space. And if you notice, this is nothing new. This same thing applies to life. If you go to medical school, you want to be a doctor. and you don't pass those classes. You didn't learn everything you need to learn to pass those classes. Instead, you started trouble in class all the time and stuff. You're not graduating. You're not. You're not gonna do it. So it applies everywhere. Do the same in crypto. It's the same thing. Same hard work and dedication. Education is what's gonna get you where you need to be. Anything less, you're gonna be shooting in the dark, like I was shooting in the dark in the beginning, right? Missing out on opportunity and stuff. So yeah.
You couldn't have said that any better. I really like the fact that you said that your success rate is directly proportional to the amount of education and time that you put into learning the space.
Yes.
Again, I think that that's really what I've been trying to do here over the past 2.5 years, is just learning as much as possible, right? And it can be really easy to just say, I understand it, but every week there's something new that I'm learning. Even as a content creator, a lot of people come to me with questions, and I'm sure just like with you, a lot of people come asking you, about all these different protocols. But it's up to us to take that upon our own selves to really put the time in to learn. We can't expect somebody else to make it for us in this space. So I agree with that. And again, I want to thank you so much for your time here, Alex. Like,
No problem.
the amount of growth you've had, I think, is undeserved. You obviously put in your time, your research to learning TA and doing a good job of spreading that here on the network. And so again, I'll be keeping an eye out not only on you, but what projects you're speaking and touching on as well, right? Again, my platform is open. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your weekend here to join me and drop so much knowledge as to what trends you're looking into, what tips you might have for newcomers into the space and what you've been doing to get to the point that you've gotten at so far. Obviously, you've been successful. And again, your track record on Twitter shows that very quickly or very clearly. And I just want to go and just kind of plug in your Twitter here one last time for anybody who's not following you on Twitter. You guys definitely make sure to go ahead and follow Alex here. His handle is going to be at ShillMoBaggins, and I'll go ahead and leave that in the description below. But every Twitter follower that this person has gained here, man, has been very well deserved. He's got so much good information coming out here, especially if you guys are into TA, very similar to what Dan is kind of doing in this space as well. So, Alex, on that note, I want to thank you again. It's been a wonderful time here. As I mentioned, you're more than welcome on my platform anytime to spread what you're investigating, what you're doing here, and what you're contributing to the Cardano ecosystem.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do for the Cardano ecosystem as well. Like I said, before I even got really active on Twitter, I always watch your videos and all the research that you did for our space, and you helped me with a lot of information, a lot of starting points information that I took to go do my own research. So I want to commend you for that as well. And thanks for having me on your channel again. I appreciate it.
Anytime. And I want to say thank you for those kind words. On that note, let's go ahead and close this down. If it's you, the viewers, first time stopping by the channel, and you guys found anything that Alex and I chatted about as a part of today's video to be helpful, beneficial, or insightful, please make sure to go ahead and drop that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by the Dapp Central YouTube channel and you guys want more content like this surrounding DeFi and the innovations being built here by the builders on the network, consider subscribing. And if you guys have any questions for me or Alex, then feel free to go ahead and drop those down in the comment section below. On that note, we'll both catch you guys in the next video.